Have you ever just stopped and truly marveled at how much a human body transforms?
Oh, absolutely.
From a tiny infant, barely able to hold its head up, to a fully grown adult, standing tall and moving with purpose. What's the incredible secret behind those intricate transformations?
It really is amazing.
It's truly one of the most fundamental and, well, fascinating aspects of being human.
It absolutely is.
Mhm.
And today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that. The fascinating world of human growth and body composition.
Okay.
Think of this as your essential guide, maybe your shortcut to understanding the very blueprint of being human. We'll unravel what makes us grow, what shapes our unique bodies, and how we adapt to the world around us.
Right.
Our mission is to make these complex ideas crystal clear with some surprising facts and truly relatable insights along the way.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then.
Yeah.
To truly understand this amazing journey, we probably need to untangle some foundational terms first.
Good idea.
You know how growth and development often get tossed around interchangeably?
All the time.
Turns out, biologically, they mean very different things.
That's such a crucial distinction. Yeah. When we talk about growth, we're focusing purely on physical change, an increase in size.
Mhm.
It's basically about getting bigger.
Bigger. Got it.
We measure it quantitatively,
Mhm.
height, weight, bone size, even your teeth coming in. Imagine it like adding more bricks to a building, making it taller or wider.
Ah, bricks. I like that.
It's all about measurable expansion.
That brick analogy really helps. So, if growth is about adding bricks, what's development then? Is it different?
Great question. And yes, very different. If growth is about getting bigger, development is about getting better at doing things.
Better. How so?
It's an increase in the complexity of function and skill progression. This happens on multiple levels. Biologically, it's cells specializing, organs refining their functions.
Okay.
Behaviorally, it's a child learning to walk, to talk, to interact with their world.
Yeah.
So, continuing our building analogy, if growth is adding bricks, development is like installing the plumbing, the electricity, the heating, making the building truly functional and livable.
Fundamental. Right.
It's qualitative change focused on capability, not just size.
Ah, I love that, making the building functional. It highlights how interconnected they are, yet so distinct. Like, a baby's muscles have to grow first, get bigger and stronger,
Right.
before they can develop the complex coordination needed to sit up or walk. You can't develop a skill without the underlying physical capacity.
Precisely. You've nailed it. And then there's differentiation. This is a concept that mostly happens very early on, right after conception.
Very early.
It's when cells specialize into different types. Think about how a single fertilized egg becomes nerve cells, muscle cells, skin cells, each with a unique job.
Yeah.
It's like specific bricks being designated for the foundation, others for the walls, and special ones for the roof. This process is how our tissues and organ systems are formed.
Giving a shape.
Exactly. Giving definite shape to different parts, a process we call morphogenesis. It's how the blueprint starts to become a real structure.
Okay, blueprint to structure. And finally, maturation. What's the distinction there? How's that different from development?
Good question. Maturation refers more to the tempo and timing of progress towards a mature biological state.
Tempo and timing, like speed.
Kind of, yeah. It's about how quickly things unfold naturally, almost like the inherent timeline programmed into our biology. It's closely tied to growth because variation in progress implies variation in the rate of change in our physical size and capabilities.
So some kids just develop faster.
Well, mature faster.
Yeah.
They reach certain milestones or adult size earlier than others. It's about the biological clock, so to speak.
That clarity really helps. Okay, so quick check for me, make sure I'm totally following the distinction here. If a baby gains weight, that's growth. Simple size increase.
Yep, growth.
But if they learn to talk, that's development, right?
Yeah.
A new skill.
Absolutely. You've got it. Gaining weight is a measurable increase in size growth. Learning to talk is an increase in skill and complexity development.
Excellent. Okay. Now that I've got those essential terms down, the natural next question is, when do these incredible changes happen throughout our lives?
Right. The timeline.
Turns out we can literally map this human journey.
Indeed. We break human growth down into two major periods. Prenatal, which is everything before birth,
In the womb.
and postnatal, everything after birth.
And when you look at prenatal growth while you're still in the womb, it's by far the quickest growth phase imaginable.
It's astonishing.
You go from a tiny ovum, 0.1 millimeters, to a fully formed baby. It's truly mind-boggling.
And this period has 3 stages. The zygote in the first 2 weeks, then the embryo from 2 to 8 weeks.
Where the differentiation really kicks in.
Exactly. That's where differentiation really kicks in, forming all the major body regions and specialized tissues. And finally, the fetus stage, from 2 months until birth, which is all about rapid growth in both length and weight.
Just getting bigger and bigger.
Pretty much. And what's fascinating is that the peak growth velocity and length is actually reached quite early, around the 18th week of postmenstrual age.
Wow, earlier than I'd have thought.
That initial explosive growth is absolutely critical. After birth, we move into the postnatal growth period, which also has several key stages. The neonatal stage is just the first 2 weeks of life.
Tiny window.
Short, but packed with rapid changes, like establishing feeding patterns and the crucial bonding between parent and infant.
Then comes infancy, from 2 weeks to 1 year. This is another period of incredibly rapid growth. I mean, infants can actually increase their birth length by over 50%.
Incredible.
And their birth weight by a staggering 200% in just that first year. You see them change almost daily.
It's true. After this, the growth rate starts to slow down significantly.
Okay.
Following infancy is childhood, lasting from the end of infancy right up to adolescence. Here, the growth rate is much slower, but remarkably steady.
Steady but slower.
Right. You might even notice a small mid-growth spurt for some children, typically around 6 to 8 years of age, almost like a little preview of what's to come.
A mini spurt. And then the dramatic adolescence.
Yes, puberty.
This period, from puberty to adulthood, is where we see the famous adolescent growth spurt, a really significant acceleration in both height and weight, paired with sexual maturation.
The body changes dramatically, preparing for adulthood. For males, adult height is usually attained around 21 years, and for females, maybe around 18 years, generally.
And that's pretty much it for height growth.
Generally, yes. Finally, we reach maturity or adulthood, where growth in height ceases. Then, much later, after the age of 60 or so, individuals enter senescence, which is the natural decline process. It's a full life cycle of change.
It really is. Now, to measure and track this whole journey, scientists use powerful tools called growth curves.
Very important tools.
There are two main types, right? The first is a distance curve. What does that show us exactly?
A distance curve shows total accumulated growth over time. So imagine plotting your height on a graph at each birthday throughout your life. That's basically a distance curve.
So it tells you how much you've grown in total up to that point.
Precisely. Your total size at any given age.
Okay. And the second type, you mentioned another one.
The velocity curve. Now, this is where things get really interesting for seeing when growth happens fast.
How so?
This one shows the rate or speed of growth over time. It's like measuring how many centimeters you grew each year.
Ah, the speed.
Right. This is where those amazing spurts, infancy, adolescence, really jump out at you as peaks on the graph.
I heard someone actually tracked this meticulously way back.
That's right. A French scientist named Debunking measured his own son's height every 6 months for 18 years back in the 1700s.
Wow, every 6 months for 18 years. That's incredible dedication for science.
It really was. And that dedication helped lay the groundwork for what we know today about these patterns.
And what's truly unique about human growth curves compared to, say, other animals?
Well, our pattern is quite distinct. We have this modified S-shaped curve with two major velocity peaks, one in infancy and another in adolescence, separated by that slower childhood growth period. Most non-human animals only have a single peak.
2 peaks. That makes us pretty special, growth-wise.
It does. And these curves are incredibly vital tools for healthcare professionals. They allow them to assess a child's growth trajectory, check if it's within normal ranges, and identify potential issues early on.
Like a roadmap for healthy development.
Exactly. It's literally a map for healthy development.
Okay, quick check again. So if you wanted to know how much you've grown in total since you were born, which curve would you check?
That would be the distance curve. It shows total accumulation.
And if you were curious when you grew the fastest, like pinpointing those spurts?
For the periods of fastest growth, the velocity curve would clearly show those peaks. The speed.
Distance and velocity. Got it. That makes perfect sense. Now, we've talked about what growth is and when it happens, but what truly makes each of us, and in populations across the globe, look so different. It's got to be more than just the timing.
Absolutely. It's a complex interplay between our internal blueprint and the world around us. This is where the fascinating interaction of nature and nurture comes in.
Nature and nurture, the classic duo.
Right. Our genetic factors, our internal blueprint play a huge role. Heredity largely dictates our potential for adult size and shape.
You can see that in families?
Definitely. You see strong evidence for this in twin studies, especially identical twins who were separated at birth. compared to those raised together. And it's why parental height is such a strong predictor of a child's eventual stature.
It's not just overall size either, is it? Genes influence specifics.
That's right. Genes also influence our specific body proportions. For example, certain populations, like Australian Aborigines and some groups in Africa, tend to have proportionally longer legs relative to their overall height. And of course, certain genetic conditions or chromosomal changes can directly impact growth patterns, like Turner syndrome affecting stature.
Okay, so that's the nature side. What about nurture, the environment?
The environmental factors. These are arguably the most influential shapers of our bodies after birth. Take climate, for instance.
Climate. How does that shape us?
Well, people living in hot, dry climates often tend to be taller and lighter, which gives them a larger surface area relative to their mass to dissipate heat more effectively.
Like radiators.
Sort of. Conversely, those in cold climates often have stockier builds, which helps conserve heat, less surface area relative to mass.
That makes intuitive sense.
You even see seasonal variations in growth rates sometimes, with some studies showing children might grow a bit faster in spring.
That's kind of wild. And nutrition must be huge, right?
Oh, perhaps the most crucial postnatal factor is nutrition. Adequate nutrition is absolutely fundamental for optimal growth. Without it, undernutrition can significantly slow skeletal growth and overall development.
Makes sense. You need the building materials.
Exactly. Just think about how adolescence demands a high intake of calories and protein to fuel those major growth spurts.
Right. And what about things like social factors?
Socioeconomic status, SES, also plays a profound role. Children from higher SES groups often grow faster and taller.
Why is that?
Usually due to better nutrition, better access to healthcare, and overall better living conditions. This ties into a truly remarkable phenomenon called the secular trend.
Ah, the secular trend. I've heard of this. This is one of those insights that really makes you see the bigger picture population-wise.
It really is. Over the last century or so, children in many industrialized countries have progressively become taller, heavier, and matured faster, generation by generation.
It's a generational shift. Why?
It's largely attributed to vast improvements in living conditions. Better nutrition, enhanced hygiene, widespread medical care, fewer childhood diseases, and even smaller family sizes.
Smaller families. How does that factor in?
Well, in some settings, smaller families might mean resources aren't spread as thin, potentially leading to better nutrition and care per child. So family size can sometimes correlate with growth, especially in lower socioeconomic contexts.
That makes sense. So the secular trend shows how profoundly society shapes our biology over time.
That's absolutely right. And speaking of societal factors, our culture profoundly influences nutrition. What food is eaten, meal times, food restrictions, lifestyle choices.
True.
Even things like migration and urbanization can affect growth patterns. People moving from rural to urban areas often show an increase in stature in subsequent generations, likely due to better access to resources and a different nutritional landscape in cities.
It's a powerful thought, isn't it? To consider how much of you, your unique physical form, is a result of your genetic potential interacting with the specific environment you've experienced throughout your life. All those factors combined.
It truly highlights the dynamic interplay. But our bodies aren't just passively shaped by these factors. They're also incredible at actively maintaining a stable internal balance, a process called homeostasis.
Keeping everything steady inside.
Exactly. But what happens when the environment throws us a massive curveball, like extreme heat, cold, or even high altitude?
We adapt.
We adapt.
We do. So homeostasis is about keeping things stable inside, like maintaining your core body temperature around that perfect 98.6 degrees Vav or 37 degrees C.
Right, your internal thermostat setting.
And thermoregulation is the process of precisely maintaining that temperature. But if that core temperature falls too low or rises too high, that's when you get into dangerous territory like hypothermia or hyperthermia.
Precisely. And our bodies have amazing ways to cope. To deal with heat stress, we have immediate physiological adaptations. One is vasodilation.
Vasodilation, what's that?
Blood vessels near the skin surface widen, bringing more warm blood closer to the skin to radiate heat away. Think of it like opening all the windows in a hothouse to let the heat escape.
Okay, opening the windows. Makes sense.
Another key one is evaporative sweating. Sweat glands release water, and as it evaporates, it cools the body surface. It's literally our body's natural air conditioner.
Very effective, too. And then there are longer-term adaptations, right? Genetic ones.
Yes, long-term genetic adaptations to heat. Take Bergman's rule. This suggests that populations in hot climates tend to have smaller body sizes overall.
Smaller bodies in hot places.
Why? Smaller bodies produce less metabolic heat internally. And crucially, they have a larger surface area relative to their volume, meaning more skin surface to dissipate heat efficiently. You see this in groups like the pygmies in tropical forests.
More surface area, less volume.
Okay, and then there's Allen's rule, which complements Bergman's. People in hot climates also tend to have longer extremities, limbs, fingers, toes.
Longer arms and legs.
Yeah. More surface area on those outreach parts means more heat can radiate away. Think of the long limbs of groups like the Nilotics of East Africa. It's like their bodies are designed with built-in radiators.
Built-in radiators. Love it. And skin color plays a role, too.
And of course, skin color is a key adaptation, primarily related to UV radiation. Melanin provides crucial protection from intense UV near the equator. While darker skin technically absorbs more solar heat, these populations also tend to have highly efficient sweat glands and other cooling mechanisms that compensate.
That's a package deal.
Exactly. And culturally, people adapt too. Think about clothing scanty in hot, wet climates, but maybe whole body covering in hot, dry deserts to trap a layer of air and prevent direct heat transfer. Or housing structures designed for airflow, or adjusting activity times like siestas during the midday heat.
Smart cultural strategies. Now, switching gears to cold stress, how do our bodies fight back against the cold?
Also with clever physiological tricks. Vasoconstriction is the opposite of vasodilation.
Closing the windows.
Exactly. Blood vessels near the skin constrict, reducing blood flow to the surface to conserve heat in the core, keeping vital organs warm. It's like closing all the windows to keep the warmth inside.
And shivering, that's obvious.
And then there's shivering, those involuntary muscle contractions that rapidly generate heat. It's literally your body doing an intense mini workout without you even trying.
Feels like it sometimes. Is there anything else for extreme cold?
In extreme cold, especially in extremities like fingers and toes, another fascinating mechanism can kick in. Cold-induced vasodilation, or CIDD. It's also called the Lewis-Hunting phenomenon.
Hunting phenomenon.
Yeah. Blood vessels in those areas periodically dilate briefly to allow a rush of warm blood, preventing frostbite. Then they constrict again. It's a clever cycle to protect those vulnerable parts.
Wow, the body's smart.
You can even try a mild version yourself. Put your fingers in ice water, feel the numbness, and then notice that periodic little return of warmth or tingling as blood flow briefly resumes.
I might try that carefully. What about genetic adaptations to cold?
Genetically, people in colder regions often have more subcutaneous fat, which acts as a natural insulator, like your body's built-in winter coat.
More insulate.
And their body size and shapes tend to follow the opposite logic of hot climates, based on Bergman's and Allen's rules.
Yeah.
Larger, stockier bodies to retain more heat, and shorter extremities to reduce the surface area where heat can be lost. Think of traditional Inuit populations.
Bigger core, shorter limbs, the opposite strategy.
Precisely. And some anthropologists suggest that the Mongoloid face, with its broader, flatter features and reduced brow ridges and nasal prominence, might also be adaptive to cold, perhaps reducing the risk of frostbite to the face.
Interesting facial adaptations, too.
And lighter skin in colder, less sunny regions helps maximize vitamin D synthesis from the available sunlight. Culturally, of course, people adapt with heavy clothing like furs and layers, well-insulated shelters like igloos, and, crucially, the use of fire for warmth.
Makes sense. Layers, shelter, fire. Okay, one more environment. High altitude. What's the challenge there? Oxygen.
Exactly. The main challenge is hypoxia, less available oxygen in the air due to lower atmospheric pressure.
So how does the body cope with less oxygen?
Our bodies respond with remarkable physiological adaptations, especially when we first ascend. We increase our breathing rate to take in more air.
Breathe faster.
Our heart rate goes up, and our kidneys are stimulated to produce a hormone called erythropoietin, or EPO.
EPO, like athletes use.
The very same hormone,
Yep.
but produced naturally. EPO stimulates the bone marrow to produce more red blood cells and more hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen, so your blood becomes better at transporting the limited oxygen available.
More oxygen taxis in the blood.
Good analogy. Over longer periods or in populations living at high altitude for generations, like in the Andes or Tibet, you see further adaptations. Increased lung volume, a larger chest cavity, maybe changes in blood vessel networks, and even genetic shifts related to oxygen metabolism.
It's just incredible to consider how our ancestors survived such harsh environments. These adaptations truly show how resourceful our biology and culture can be.
Absolutely. It's almost like our bodies have been writing their own survival manuals over millennia. adapting to the very ground our ancestors walked on.
That makes so much sense. Our bodies are clearly marvels of adaptation, but they need the right fuel to keep going to build and repair.
Exactly. Which brings us neatly to body composition.
What are we actually made of?
Fundamentally, our bodies are built from four main components: water, protein, fat, and minerals.
Water, protein, fat, minerals. Okay.
Within fats, we need to distinguish between two types. Essential fats, found in vital organs like bone marrow, the heart, lungs, liver, they're absolutely necessary for normal physiological function.
Can't live without them.
Right. Then there are stored fats, primarily found in adipose tissues under the skin and around organs. Their main job is to store energy for later use.
The energy reserve. Is it true women have more fat?
Women naturally have a higher percentage of essential fat than men, largely due to hormonal differences in reproductive functions. Overall, body fat percentage varies greatly between individuals based on genetics, diet, and activity.
Okay, essential versus stored. And what's lean body mass? I hear that term a lot.
Good question. Lean body mass is essentially your fat-free mass. It's the weight of everything except fat. So your muscles, bones, ligaments, internal organs, water content.
Everything but the fat. Got it.
Fueling this intricate machine requires a balanced diet. And this isn't just about eating enough calories.
It's about the right stuff.
Exactly. Eating the right quantities and proportions of essential nutrients. The key components are carbohydrates for energy, fats for energy and essential fatty acids, proteins for bodybuilding and repair,
The building blocks.
and vitamins and minerals, often called protective foods because they regulate body processes and protect against deficiencies. And of course, water is crucial. Plus, non-nutrients like fiber and antioxidants also play vital roles.
And our dietary needs aren't static, are they? They change throughout life.
Absolutely. Infancy, for example, has unique needs best met by breast milk. Childhood requires energy for growth and play. Adolescence needs lots of protein and calories to support those rapid growth spurts. Adult needs vary based on activity level.
So the diet needs to match the life stage.
Precisely. The World Health Organization really emphasizes the benefits of a balanced diet throughout life. It boosts immunity, supports a healthy mind and body, protects against chronic non-communicable diseases like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and even some cancers, and can significantly improve mental health too.
That leads us to recommended dietary allowances, or RDAs. What are those exactly?
RDAs are basically science-based estimates of the amounts of specific nutrients and total calories needed daily to meet the requirements of nearly all healthy individuals in a particular life stage and gender group.
So guidelines for how much vitamin C or protein we need.
Exactly. But here's a crucial point. RDAs are often country-specific.
Why is that? Wouldn't human needs be universal?
To an extent, yes, but recommendations vary because of differences in typical food habits, cooking methods which affect nutrient availability, local food sources, baseline nutritional status, genetic factors influencing metabolism, environmental factors, and even the prevalence of certain diseases in a population.
Can you give an example?
Sure. For instance, India's RDA, set by the ICMR, considers that a large portion of the population follows a predominantly vegetarian, cereal pulse-based diet. This affects recommendations for nutrients like iron, where plant-based sources are less easily absorbed than iron from meat. So their iron RDA might differ from, say, the US RDA, which might assume higher meat consumption. It's tailored to the local reality.
That makes sense. It has to be practical for the population it serves. But what happens when that balance is lost, when things go wrong with nutrition?
That's when we encounter malnutrition. And it's important to remember, malnutrition isn't just not enough food.
Right, it's broader.
Much broader.
Yeah.
It's defined as any imbalance, whether it's a deficiency, an excess, or simply the wrong proportion of energy and/or nutrients.
So too much is also malnutrition.
Absolutely. The most visible forms of malnutrition globally today often include overweight and obesity,
Okay, how are those defined?
generally using body mass index, or BMI. Overweight is typically defined as a BMI of 25 kilometers or higher, and obesity as a BMI of 30 kilometers or higher. Although BMI has limitations, it's a common screening tool.
And the cause is usually...
The primary cause is usually a chronic imbalance between energy intake, calories consumed, and energy expenditure, calories burned. Basically, consuming more energy, often from high sugar and high fat foods, than the body uses through activity and metabolism. Sedentary lifestyles are a major contributor.
And the consequences of obesity are pretty serious, aren't they?
They are, and they're far-reaching. Obesity dramatically increases the risk of serious health conditions. Metabolically, think dyslipidemias, abnormal blood fats. insulin resistance leading to type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, cardiovascularly, higher risk of heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure. Mechanically, things like osteoarthritis, back problems, sleep apnea.
And social impacts, too.
Yes. Unfortunately, there can be significant social and psychological impacts as well, like lower self-esteem, depression, and facing weight bias or discrimination. It's a really complex public health challenge.
Okay, so that's the excess side of malnutrition. What about the deficiency side? Undernutrition.
Right? Undernutrition encompasses several issues. There's being underweight for one's age. There's wasting, which is a low weight for height. This usually indicates recent and severe weight loss, often due to acute starvation or disease.
Acute malnutrition.
Yes. Then there's stunting, which is low height for age. This indicates chronic or recurrent undernutrition, usually starting early in life, hindering growth potential. And beyond calories and protein, there can be deficiencies in essential vitamins and minerals, like iron, vitamin A, or iodine.
The impact of undernutrition, especially on kids.
The impact is severe. It increases vulnerability to illness and death significantly.
Yeah.
It impairs cognitive development and physical growth, potentially trapping individuals and communities in a cycle of poverty and poor health.
There are specific severe forms in children, right? I've heard of marasmus and kwashiorkor.
Yes, those are two classic severe forms of protein energy malnutrition, or PM, primarily seen in young children. Marasmus is essentially starvation or severe energy deficiency.
What does it look like?
The child becomes extremely thin, severely wasted, looks almost like skin and bones. Their weight is typically less than 60% of what's expected for their age. There's a severe loss of both body fat and muscle mass. It's due to a profound lack of overall energy and protein.
Just overall starvation. And kwashiorkor, how is that different?
Kwashiorkor presents quite differently, though it's also very serious. The hallmark sign is oedema, or swelling, usually starting in the feet and legs, which can mask the underlying muscle wasting.
Swelling, so they might not look super thin.
Exactly. They might even look a bit puffy. Other signs include changes in skin pigment, thin, brittle, reddish or discolored hair, an enlarged fatty liver, and apathy or irritability.
What causes kwashiorkor? Is it also lack of food?
It's often associated with a diet that might have some calories, maybe from starchy foods, but is severely deficient in protein relative to the energy content. It often develops when a child is weaned from breast milk onto a low-protein diet, typically seen in the second year of life. Sometimes, children can even show features of both marasmic kwashiorkor.
Wow. It really underscores how critical the balance of nutrients is, not just the total amount.
Precisely. Our diet literally builds and fuels us. And understanding these concepts helps us make informed choices for our own health and recognize the challenges faced by communities dealing with malnutrition.
Absolutely. Okay, let's try that check again. So if you were to see a child with very swollen legs and maybe discolored hair, but they weren't necessarily extremely thin overall, what form of severe malnutrition might that suggest to you?
Based on the edema and hair changes, that would strongly point towards kwashiorkor, even if the child doesn't look severely wasted like in marasmus.
Got it. The swelling is key. Okay. Now, with all this talk about growth, how we're built, how we adapt, it naturally leads to thinking about body shapes. People come in all shapes and sizes.
They certainly do.
How do scientists categorize this incredible diversity? Is there a system?
There is. This is where somatotyping comes in.
Somatotyping. Okay, what is that?
Somatotyping is essentially a method, a system, used to evaluate and classify the human physique. It provides a kind of quantitative description, like a tag, that reflects the body's overall morphological features, its shape and composition.
So a scientific way to describe body types.
Pretty much. It does this by breaking down physique into three fundamental components, or dimensions. First, endomorphy. This refers to a person's relative fatness or soft roundedness. Think more spherical shapes.
Okay, endomorphy is roundness, fatness. What else?
Second is mesomorphy. This describes a person's relative musculoskeletal robustness or muscularity. Think square shapes, hard, muscular physiques.
Mesomorphy is muscularity. And the third?
The third is ectomorphy. This relates to a person's relative linearity or slenderness. Think fragility, linearity, more rectangular or thin shapes.
Endomorphy, mesomorphy, ectomorphy, roundness, muscularity, linearity. So is everyone just one of these?
No, not at all. That's a common misconception. The key is that everyone is considered a mix of all three components to varying degrees.
A mix. How does that work?
Each component is rated on a scale, usually from 1 to 7 or higher. So a person's somatotype is represented by a 3-number rating, like 3, 5, 2.
So 3 for endomorphy, 5 for mesomorphy, 2 for ectomorphy.
Exactly. That would describe someone moderate in roundness, high in muscularity, and low in linearity. A very different physique might be a 7-1-1, very high endomorphy, very low meso and ectomorphy, or a 1-1-7, extremely linear. It's a spectrum, capturing the combination.
That's much more nuanced than just fat, muscular, skinny. Where did this system come from?
Well, the idea of linking physique to temperament goes way back, even to Hippocrates in ancient Greece, distinguishing between different body types. But modern somatotyping really took off in the mid-20th century with the work of W.H. Sheldon. He used standardized photographs and a complex rating system.
Sheldon, okay. Is his method still used?
Sheldon's original method had some issues and isn't widely used now. Other methods developed, like Parnell's, which used body measurements. But the most common and widely accepted approach today is the Heath-Carter method.
Heath Carter, what's different about that?
It's based entirely on anthropometric measurements, things like skin fold thicknesses, to assess fat, bone breadths, and limb circumferences, to assess musculoskeletal development, and height-weight ratios for linearity. It calculates the three component ratings from these measurements.
So it's more objective, based on measurements.
Exactly. It assesses the person's current physique, their current shape and composition, rather than trying to predict a fixed type like Sheldon originally did. It acknowledges that somatotype can change with age, training, or nutrition.
That makes sense. So what influences someone's somatotype then? Is it just genes?
Good question, circling back to nature-nurture. While genetic factors certainly provide the basic framework or potential, an individual's actual somatotype is influenced by a whole host of factors: gender, age, ethnicity, physical activity levels, dietary patterns, health status, and yes, various environmental factors too.
So it's really the result of everything we've been talking about.
In many ways, yes, it's the physical manifestation, the culmination of all those forces: genetics, growth patterns, nutrition, environment, lifestyle, shaping the body's current form and composition.
That really brings it all together nicely. Somatotyping helps us appreciate that human body variation isn't just random, but can be systematically observed and understood, connecting back to all the biological and environmental factors we've explored. It's not just about labeling, but understanding the outcome of these complex processes.
Precisely. It gives us a framework for appreciating that diversity.
Yeah.
So we've taken a pretty comprehensive deep dive today into the amazing story of human growth.
We really have. From the initial spark of life and those incredibly rapid prenatal changes, through distinct postnatal stages like infancy and adolescence, we've seen how our growth is shaped by this complex interplay of our genes and our environment.
We explored how our bodies are master adapters, evolving fascinating physiological and genetic mechanisms to cope with challenges like extreme heat, cold, and high altitude. It's quite remarkable.
And we covered the critical role of nutrition, understanding what we're made of, how to fuel ourselves effectively, and the profound impacts, both good and bad, related to diet, from obesity to severe undernutrition like marasmus and kwashiorkor.
We tied it together with body composition and finally somatotyping as a way to describe the outcome of all these influences on our physical form.
It's clear that human growth and body composition are truly multifaceted. We've seen how everything from our genes to what we eat to where we live shapes our very form, and how science has developed powerful tools like growth curves and somatotyping to understand this incredible diversity.
So knowing now about this profound interplay between your biological blueprint, the food you eat, the activity you do, and the environment you inhabit, perhaps a final thought for you to consider. What steps might you think about to further optimize your own human machine for health and well-being? And how might this deeper understanding change your perspective when you see the amazing diversity of human forms around the world?